They found the king at dawn slumped against his throne, an empty vial still warm in his hand, and a look on his face that wasn't quite peace. It wasn't quite anything. But this story doesn't begin with death. It begins with something worse. It begins with love. In the prosperous village of Ijobo, where barns groaned under the weight of yams and palm wine flowed like rivers. -1 Princess Adebisi, daughter of King Oiken. Her beauty was famous, but it was her heart that truly shone. She helped market women count their wares, carried water for children, and was the first to visit the sick with herbs and kind words. Her father, King Oiken, was a different man, a man who saw the world in alliances and gold. He loved his daughter, but more than that, he loved what she represented, a bridge to a greater empire. Suitors came from every corner of the land, princes draped in fine agbada and warriors bearing chests of ivory. King Oiken paraded them like cattle, weighing their kingdoms against his own ambition. "My daughter," he would declare, "will unite Ijobo with the greatest empire this land has ever seen." But Adebisi's heart was not a bargaining chip. It had already chosen a Labi, a hunter with no title, no land, and no gold. He had only calloused hands, a steady voice, and a love for her that ran deeper than any river. They had known each other since childhood, when a young Alabi found a lost princess in the forest and led her home, keeping her secret safe. In that same forest, their love grew silent and strong, rooted deep in the earth. He taught her to track deer, she taught him to read. But secrets, in a village like Ijobo, have short lives. Then the sickness came. The elders called it the withering. It started with 1 death, then 3, then a dozen. The strong fell alongside the weak, the young alongside the old. The village was hollowed out by grief, and the drums of mourning never stopped beating. The royal herbalists tried everything, but nothing worked. Ijobo was dying from the mist-covered mountains. An ancient priestess of Oya appeared. Her eyes were clouded white, but her words struck every heart in the royal court. "The land bleeds because of imbalance," she declared. "A debt is owed. Only when the highest marries the truest, a maiden of noble blood wed to a man untouched, pure of heart and body, will the curse lift." She then delivered a chilling warning. "But if the chosen groom is false, if he carries deception in his blood, the sickness will consume Ijobo entirely. Every man, woman, and child gone." The solution was clear. Princess Adebisi must marry a pure man. King Oiken immediately saw his chance. He announced the engagement of his daughter to Prince Adeola of Igboia, a charming, handsome man from a powerful kingdom. The wedding was set for 3 days. It was the match the king had always dreamed of. But Adebisi knew a terrible secret. Months earlier, her handmaiden, Funk, had confessed in tears that Prince Adeola had seduced her with promises of jewels. Prince Adeola was not pure. He was a liar. If Adebisi married him, she would be signing a death warrant for her entire village. She was trapped. Exposing Adeola would ruin Funk's life, but staying silent would destroy everyone else's. So, standing before the entire court, her voice trembling but unbroken, she did the only thing she could. "Father," she said, "I will not marry Prince Adeola. I will marry Alabi, the hunter." The silence in the hall was deafening. King Oiken's face twisted with a rage born of shame and shattered dreams. "That peasant," he whispered, "you would throw away our kingdom as future for a man who smells of pine needles and rabbit blood." "I would throw away everything," Adebisi replied quietly, "to save my people." She couldn't tell him the real reason. She couldn't betray Funk. She had to let her father believe she was choosing love over duty, when in fact she was choosing both. While the king raged and locked his daughter away, the death toll outside the palace walls continued to climb. 70 souls were gone. The people of Ijobo, their hearts broken from burying their loved ones, rose up. They gathered outside the palace with torches, their voices raw from weeping. Let her marry who she chooses. Let the curse be lifted. We are dying, Kobiesi. We are dying. Faced with the unified voice of his suffering people, the king had no answer. At dawn, under the ancient Iroko tree where they had first met, Adebisi and Alabi were married. She wore wildflowers in her hair, he wore simple white cloth. As they spoke their vows, a warmth spread through the village. The air itself seemed to shift. By evening, the first sick person sat up in bed. Within 3 days, the withering had vanished. Ijobo erupted in celebration. Talking drums thundered, and the streets filled with joyous dancing. But inside the palace, there was only silence. King Oikan sat alone, staring at the marriage document. His dreams of empire had turned to dust. He could not bear the thought of the mockery from other kings, the whispers that his daughter had married a nobody. He could not see that his daughter had saved them all. He could only see what he had lost. In the quietest hour of the night, while his kingdom celebrated its salvation, King Oikan made his own terrible choice. They found him at dawn, a vial empty by his side, the crown still resting on his head. Adebisi wept for the father she had loved, the man whose pride had consumed him. But she did not regret her choice. 70 graves were enough. And so Adebisi and the Labi ruled Ijobo together. They built a kingdom not of iron and gold, but of compassion and kindness. A kingdom where a person's worth was measured by their heart, and where the farmer's son sat at the same table as the chief's daughter. Years later, Funk, the handmaiden, would tell her own children the story of the princess who carried a secret shame to save her people. The village of Ijobo never forgot the plague that tested them, or the princess who chose love and paid the ultimate price so that they could live. And the elders would always say, whenever pride grew too tall, remember Oikan. The river that forgets its source will always dry up. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more.